Bless you.
Yesterday we caught up with Richie Sambora in his hotel room. Bon Jovi, of course, in Australia on tour. They've got a new album out called Lost Highway. One of the things Richie talks about in this following piece is a thing that they had, which was actually called the Lost, I think they called it the Lost Weekend, where back in the 80s here in Australia they decided to have the party of all parties on one of the island resorts in Queensland. Shipped in girls from all over Australia. I think one of their tour managers had a stack of airline tickets, and anyone who was attractive said girls come to the island, and
It's
most
true.
of, I think all of them said yes.
Maggie T, there was
Yeah.
Ida Buttrose.
I think
Maggie T would rip Richie Sambora to pieces.
Yeah, there was more than one call girl that got on an Ansett flight to these islands, but at the time, I believe. Anyway, it's one of the things that Richie Sambora shared with us in this chat.
It's my life, it's now or never.
I think I saw recently, did you perform at the Royal Variety Performance in
Right,
London?
met the Queen last month, yeah.
Yeah, is that...
She was cool, man.
Well, when you're up on stage, do you feel like, oh, I've got to, tone down the performance because, Her Royal Highness is sitting in the audience, or does that not bother you?
You know, I mean, no, not really. We were in Liverpool, so she asked us if we'd do a Beatles song. So John and I did Let It Be on the same mic, like Lennon and McCartney. It was like really, really cool. It was a moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she was cool. She came around and talked to us for a little bit. She says, "You boys come all the way here for me." And we're like, yes. She goes, "Oh, splendid." I was going to say, "Hey, you were really good in that movie."
What did you say to her?
They'd say, you got to call her ma'am.
Yeah.
We said, "Yes, ma'am," and bow your head a little bit and say.
She moves down the line, doesn't she? She kind of says
Yeah,
hello
but it was
to
cool because we
everyone.
were at the end of the line.
Uh-huh.
So she was waiting for her car to pull about. So her and Philip and Philip was like joking around, he was like making jokes and
That's
stuff.
'cause
So he was
he's pissed
really
most of the
cool.
time.
So it wasn't backstage, didn't come back
always
and grab a
drinking.
beer out of the fridge. and
But
crack
you know
one.
what? What's the funny thing now? It's really, really cool. When she wants to have a drink, stops the show. Because nobody can see her drink. And I heard she drinks gin and tonic, so she stops the show.
I bet she does.
Stone cold, and goes to some little room that they have set up for her, and she has a bevy.
Fitting.
And they say she's having a toilet break.
Stop the show! I'm thirsty!
It's going to be a long show if she's a drunk. We once had a guy interviewed a guy, and unfortunately I can't remember his name, and he used to, it was one of your tour manager or something for years, and he wrote a book about his experiences with you guys. And
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
One of the things he said about your band is that he said in all his time he never met a woman who said no when she was asked to go backstage, whether she was married or had a boyfriend or whatever. Do you believe that's true?
No, but it's good folklore.
Because there's probably a few guys you should start
I
apologizing
read that book,
to.
and it's 10 times, the real life experiences were 10 times better.
Yeah.
Best.
Was it you guys in Queensland who had the resort and you got close?
golf
Golf buggy
buggy?
into
Never
the...
happened. It was the best time I never had. That's my book.
Yeah, I wouldn't admit to driving a golf buggy into a pool.
No, there was, it's really funny. We just got offered to do this book deal, right? So we said, yeah, okay, we've never done a book. We'll just check it out, right? Everybody had to do these interviews with the writer and all this kind of stuff. And then he came back with the first draft, and it was so damn boring because we will not say a word. Because now we all have, it's unneeded. Why are we going to talk about the past and write another cliche rock and roll? Here's another rock and roll.
People want to hear
Butcher
it, though.
kind of story.
This is where we destroyed a hotel room.
That's what we did. It's like, so it's in the past and it's done, and you want your kids reading that stuff about you anyway. So.
How do you guys feel about these young rock kids that are producing music now? Do you look at them and think that, how do you feel about the way that they carry themselves? Not about their music, but the way they treat themselves in the limelight and the way they
I don't really pay
themselves.
much attention to it, but I think we had all the fun. I think back, it seemed like when the grunge period came in, like right after, this is going back a number of years now anyway, but it seemed like when everybody got all depressed and stuff like that, I'm going, you're a rock star, man. What are you depressed about? And what happens consequently, those guys fell off the mat because, okay, you could see, I could see that coming a mile away, because if you're singing songs about being all depressed and all bummed out and all that kind of stuff, then what happens when you sell a few million records and you have a few $1 million in the bank?
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing to be depressed about anymore. It becomes a very unreal experience. And then they just went, None of those bands exist today, really.
Yeah, none of those guys were living on a prayer with her.
Yeah. It wasn't in the pool, it was the ocean, by the way.
Oh, that's what it was too.
That was yeah.
You missed the whole
Apparently.
saltwater. You missed the whole saltwater part.
Apparently.
Fish, everything.
What's that guy? The Lost Weekend or something?
Crabs, all kind of things. Fantastic.
How long ago was this? I haven't even...
I don't know. You ask Richie another time.
Yeah,
I'll wait for the book.
mate. Thanks for your time, Richie.
Absolute
Absolute
pleasure.
pleasure, mate.
Pleasure.
so
Funny,
much,
great.
Good on you.
Richie.
Good luck with the tour.
Thanks very much.
Good dude. Richie Sambora
Great guy.
from Bon Jovi there.